Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another comic book review by Rorschach's Comics with I, your faithful host, Matt. Today, we will take a little different direction with the style of book that we have been previously reviewing, and we are going to look at the graphic novel version of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the book, unfamiliar with the story, and unfamiliar with what a hobbit is, well, for one, I greatly recommend you read the book. A hobbit is a creature smaller than a dwarf, but not a dwarf. Lives in a hole, but not a nasty, wet hole like worms or something like that would live in. They live in nice, clean hobbit holes, generally with wooden doors, wooden windows, and blah, blah, blah. So, again, read the story to get the full idea with what a hobbit is. Now, many of you, I'm sure, will know that a few years back, they made a movie trilogy of this book. How they managed to make 3 movies out of one book, I still can't wrap my mind around, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Of course, the original author of the book was none other than J.R.R. Tolkien himself. However, this version was adapted into a graphic novel by Charles Dixon and Sean Deming, with illustrations done by David Wenzel. Now, let me say that they did a far superior job adapting the story from one media form to another than Mr. Peter Jackson did with his movies. For those of you who have seen the movies but not read the book, you will be very surprised by the story you find, for you will find it is a very different story than what Mr. Jackson told. Mainly in the fact that the only real similarity between the book and the movies is the names of the characters and places. Everything else was greatly changed for reasons that I can't begin to fathom. Specifically the inclusion of one Azog the Pale Orc, who plays a large part in the movie trilogy, but plays absolutely no part in the book, because at the time of the events told in the book, Mr. Azog has been dead for very many years. For at the Battle of Moria, it was not his arm that Thorin Oakenshield, the dwarf, cut off, but it was his head, which he then tossed down an orc hole back to Mr. Azog's orc buddies. But enough of that, back to the book. So, in reading the book, let's talk about the artwork. The artwork, though not the style that I would want to see my Batman, my Daredevil, my Punisher, Superman stories told with, it fits very well with the fantasy genre of storytelling. You really get a feel for the tale being told with its rustic and darker tones. The story itself was very well adapted. We have blocks of narration for the non-speaking parts, printed, or typed, I should say, with a font that really gives you the feel of the medieval/fantasy style of tale. And then you just have the normal comic book style speech bubbles for the dialogue. It is a book that I feel is well worth your time and money. If you enjoy, I know there are many people out there that enjoy reading comic books, but don't enjoy so much reading the more traditional style of literature. If The Hobbit is a tale that you want to read, but reading regular books is not your thing, I greatly recommend you pick up the graphic novel. It is a perfect transferal from regular literature to graphic novel. Nothing is left out. You get the encounters with the orcs, the trolls, the fight with the dragon, the elves, the dwarves, the wizard. All of it is there. It is, like I said, well worth your time and money. You can get it fairly inexpensively off Amazon. And of course, the copy I read, of course, I got off from my local library. They were gracious enough to let me borrow it. And as said in a previous video, one will be very surprised with the stuff you can find at your local library for comic books. I know I was when I first started reading comics, because of the couple libraries I've gone to, they've got a little bit of everything. I've gotten superhero books, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, you name it, I found it. I think that will be all of for our review of the book. Please tune in again next week when we bring you our review of Deadpool versus the Punisher, an action tale by Marvel Comics. So, all right, everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Have a good day. Bye.